Hey, beautiful soul. Oh, welcome to Soulful Saturdays with Saylor. Around here, we cut through the noise, ditch the fluff, and dive straight into what matters: spiritual wellness, radical self acceptance, and unapologetic soulful living. Each week, I'll bring you truth with a side of sass, reflections that wake you up, and reminders that you are glorious. So whether you've got your journal, your coffee, or that wild, messy bun, you are exactly where you need to be. And if you are listening at the 5 o'clock evening hour, I won't ask what's in your mug. No, I won't. So today we're going to talk about something that might make some of you twitch a little. Are you ready for it? Here it is. You don't have to earn a Saturday. Oh, I know. And you know what just happened? Somewhere a to-do list just gasped. And somebody's planner just clutched its pearls. And at least 3 women listening thought, well, maybe after I vacuum. No, beautiful soul. No, no, no. This is why we're having this conversation. So can I ask you something? When was the last time you actually sat down? Not because you were exhausted, not because you were sick, not because your body waved the white flag and said, lady, we're done. Just because you simply wanted to. I'll wait. Yep, 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 yep. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't remember. Well, girl, same. Because somewhere along the way, we women got really, really good at making rest something that we have to earn. We don't just sit down. Oh, no. We have to complete the ceremonial checklist first. I'll rest after I throw in one more load of laundry. Ooh, I'll sit down after I clean the kitchen. Ooh, I'll relax after I answer these emails. I'll take some time for myself after I make sure everybody else is good. And then, somehow it is 9:47 at night. Yep, we're exhausted. We're standing in the kitchen staring into the refrigerator, not because we're hungry, but because we've completely forgotten why you walked into the kitchen in the first place. Yep, you know what I'm talking about. And you're thinking, well, I guess I just go to bed. Here's the kicker. That finish line, it keeps moving because laundry doesn't end. Have you noticed this? You can wash everything, every single piece of clothing in your house, and somehow there is more. And you're wondering, where did it come from? Does the laundry basket have a secret trapdoor? Does everything in the house change clothes 17 times a day when I'm not looking? And those dishes, oh yeah, those dishes, they reproduce. I'm convinced of it. You wash the dishes and you put them away and you turn around and suddenly there's a cup in the sink. Who used this cup? And don't even get me started on dust. I am convinced that dust is sponsored by, do I dare say it? Amazon? Yes, I did, because the stuff shows up every single day. You clean a surface, you walk away, you come back, and the dust is sitting there. And it's sitting there whispering, going, hey, girl, miss me? Oh. So here's where this gets really interesting. We've been taught to measure our value by what we accomplish. How much did you get done today? Did you finish the project? Did you clean the house? Did you take care of everybody? Did you answer the emails? Did you check your boxes? And somewhere in the equation, we started believing that if we are doing something that we're not being valuable. Mm. And beautiful soul, that's a dangerous little lie because you are not a human productivity machine. You are a human being, not a human doing. And maybe, just maybe, rest isn't something you get to do after you've proven your worth. Maybe rest is part of remembering you never had to prove your worth in the first place. Now, that is something worth sipping your coffee over. So, why is this so hard for us? Why can we be completely exhausted, knowing we're exhausted, feeling the exhaustion in every cell of our body, and still feel guilty about sitting down? Seriously, what is that? Because somewhere along the way, we learned some really sneaky little lies. And I call them sneaky because nobody usually sat us down and said, okay, Cindy, today we're going to teach you that your worth is directly connected to how much laundry you can fold before noon. Nope. Nope, that didn't happen, but it happened slowly. We watch, we listen, we absorb. We get praised for being helpful. We get praised for being productive. We get praised for taking care of everybody. And eventually, we start believing that being a good woman means being a woman who is always doing something for somebody. And girlfriend, we need to talk about this because there are 3 lies in particular that I think have been running around in our heads rent-free for far too long. Lie number 1. If I'm not productive, I'm wasting time. That's a goodie. This one has probably caused more women to feel guilty while sitting on a perfectly comfortable couch than we could ever calculate. We have somehow decided that every minute of our day needs to have a purpose, and not just any purpose, it needs to be productive. What did you accomplish today? What did you get done? What did you check off? What did you finish? And if you say, well, I sat outside and watched the clouds, somewhere inside your head, there's a little productivity police officer going, excuse me, ma'am, do you have a permit for that? What if that wasn't wasting time? What if you needed it? What if sitting outside helped you breathe? What if that cup of coffee gave you 10 minutes of peace? What if reading a book made you laugh? What if watching the clouds gave your brain a break? Did you accomplish anything? Maybe not. But did you experience your life? Oh, absolutely. And there is a difference. Because if every moment of our lives has to produce something, when exactly do we get to simply live? Lie number 2. If I put myself first, I'm selfish. Oh, yeah, this is a doozy. Maybe women have been taught this one from practically every direction. Take care of everyone else. Be available. Be helpful. Be accommodating. Don't disappoint anybody. Don't say no. Make sure everybody is okay. And somewhere along the way, we confuse self-care with selfishness. But let's flip that around. If your best friend came to you exhausted, overwhelmed, running on fumes, would you look her straight in the face and say, you're not what I need? More responsibility? No, of course not. You'd probably say, girl, sit down. I'm getting you some coffee. So why don't we offer ourselves the same compassion? Why is everybody else allowed to have needs, but our own somehow, need to be submitted for approval. I mean, who is sitting on the board of directors of our lives? Because I'd like to request a meeting and now. And here's what I believe. Putting yourself first sometimes isn't selfish. It's responsible. Because you cannot continually pour from an empty cup and then wonder why you're cranky when somebody asks for more. And at some point, this cup is going to say, ma'am, there is literally nothing left in here. And that's not failure. That's depletion. Yes, it is. So how about lie number 3? My worth is measured by how much I accomplish. Now, this one goes deep. My worth is measured by how much I accomplish. Because when we've spent years being the one who gets things done, the one people can count on, the one who remembers every birthday, the one who organizes the event, the one who makes the appointment, the one who shows up, the one who handles the crisis, it can become really easy to believe that your value comes from your usefulness. And as long as I'm needed, I'm valuable. As long as I'm accomplishing, I'm worthy. As long as I'm taking care of everybody, I'm doing enough. But maybe what happens when you stop? What happens when the house is quiet? When the work is done? When the kids don't need you every 5 minutes? What happens when the emails are answered, when the project is finished? Who are you then? That's the question. And I think that's why rest can feel so uncomfortable. Because rest strips away the doing. Because rest strips away the doing and leaves us with the being. And maybe some of us haven't spent enough time getting to know that woman. The woman underneath the roles, underneath the responsibilities, underneath the accomplishments, underneath the endless list of things she is supposed to do. Her. Just her. And honey, she is worth getting to know. Because your worth didn't begin with your first accomplishment. And it doesn't disappear when you take a day off. You don't become less valuable because the laundry is sitting in the basket. You don't become less worthy because you said no. You don't become less important because you took an afternoon and did absolutely nothing. Your worth is not a performance review. You are not walking around with quarterly evaluations attached to your forehead saying, Cindy exceeded expectations in laundry, but demonstrated room for improvement in relaxing. That's what the review would say. So no, this is not how it works. But our culture loves a scoreboard. How busy are you? How much did you get done? How many appointments do you have? How many projects are you juggling? How many people need you? And somehow we've even started comparing our exhaustion. Oh, you think tired? Oh, honey, let me tell you what my week looked like. Yeah, have you said that? I have. It's almost become a competition. Who's the busiest? Who's the most overwhelmed? Who has the least amount of time? Who needs the most coffee? And I'm sorry, but when did being exhausted become a status symbol? Because some wear it as a designer handbag, some wear expensive shoes, and some of us wear stress. Yes, we're wearing stress. And honey, neither one impresses me. Because here's what I've learned. Being busy and living well are two separate things. They are completely different. Busy means there's always something happening. Living well means You're exactly present for some of it. Busy means your calendar is full. Living well means you are. Busy means you're constantly moving. Living well means sometimes you stop, you breathe, you notice, you laugh, you listen, you sit on the porch with our coffee and watch the world go by. And you don't need to justify it. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to apologize for it. You simply be. And maybe that's the real rebellion. Not doing more, not proving more, not accomplishing more, but finally deciding I am allowed to enjoy the life I am working so hard to create. Now that's a conversation worth having over coffee. Because maybe the problem isn't that we don't know how to rest. Maybe we've simply been taught that we shouldn't. And if we've been taught it, guess what? We can unlearn it. And that's exactly where we're going next. So we've established that we have a problem. We don't know how to sit down. We don't know how to stop. And apparently, we have a very complicated emotional relationship with the laundry basket. But here's where I want to turn the conversation, because what if doing nothing isn't actually doing nothing? What if the moment we've been calling lazy are actually some of the most important moments of our day? Because I know that sounds a little crazy when we've been programmed to believe that productivity is the gold standard. We're taught that if we're moving, we're accomplishing. If we're accomplishing, we're valuable. And if we're valuable, well, then we're allowed to feel good about ourselves. But what happens when we stop? What happens when there's no task in front of us, no email answer, no laundry to fold, no person to take care of, no problem to solve? It's just you. That can feel a little uncomfortable, can't it? Because when we're constantly moving, constantly thinking, constantly planning, constantly solving, constantly anticipating somebody else's needs, we don't have much room for something incredibly important: space. And beautiful soul, your brain needs space. Your heart needs space. Your soul needs space. You are not a computer with 17 tabs open that can just keep running forever. Although, let's be honest, some of us have 17 tabs open in our brains before we've even had our first cup of coffee. And then we wonder why we're tired. We wonder why we're scattered. We wonder why we can't make a decision. We wonder why we can't remember why we walked into the room. Why am I in the kitchen? Oh, I don't know, Cindy. Nobody knows. Sometimes it's just because we've simply got too much noise happening upstairs. And when we finally stop, something happens. Space appears, and space creates something that we desperately need: clarity. Have you ever been trying hard to figure something out, thinking about it, analyzing it, talking about it, going over every possible scenario, making a list, making another list, and then finally you say, you know what? I'm done thinking about this. And you walk away, and suddenly, boom, there's your answer. Have you ever had that happen? You weren't chasing the answer. You weren't forcing the answer. You simply stopped making so much noise and gave yourself enough quiet to actually hear it. That's the power of pause. That's the power of space. And I think this one of the reasons rest can feel so uncomfortable because when we stop, we might actually hear ourselves. And sometimes that's exactly what we've been avoiding. Busy when you're busy. Because when you're busy, you don't have to ask, how am I really doing? You don't have to notice what you're feeling. You don't have to deal with the thing that you've been pushing down. You can just keep moving. And sometimes we're not exhausted because we're done too much physically. Sometimes we're exhausted because we've been carrying too much emotionally. The worry, the expectations, the guilt, the responsibilities, the relationships, the what ifs, the I shoulds, the I need tos, the everybody else needs me. All of that takes energy. So when you finally sit down and your body goes, oh, thank God, listen to that. That's not weakness, that's information. Your body may have been trying to get your attention all day, and rest gives you an opportunity to listen. And here's the part that I really want you to hear. Doing nothing doesn't mean your life stops having meaning. It means you stop performing for a minute. You stop trying to prove that you're worthy. You stop trying to justify your existence through productivity. You stop asking, what should I be doing? And you start asking, what do I need? That's a different question, isn't it? And maybe, just maybe, that's where the good stuff begins. Because when you can create space, you create room for presence, room for gratitude, room for creativity, room for healing, room to actually notice your own life instead of rushing through it. And that's why I don't believe rest is the opposite of productivity. I think rest is allows us to live and work from a healthy place. Because rested women think differently, they respond differently, they listen differently, they create and love differently, they lead differently, they give differently. They don't have to squeeze every last drop out of themselves just to prove they care. They can give from overflow instead of depletion. And that, my beautiful friend, is a completely different way of living. So maybe doing nothing isn't the problem. Maybe we've simply misunderstood what nothing actually is. Because sometimes nothing is where we finally hear the answer. Nothing is where we notice the beauty. Nothing is where we catch our breath. Nothing is where we remember who we are. And now I want to get really practical with you because I'm not talking about some complicated spiritual retreat in Bali where we're all wearing linen and drinking something with chai seeds floating in it. I'm talking about ordinary, glorious, everyday moments. A cup of coffee, a chair, a little sunshine, a book, a patch of grass, a window, a sky full of clouds. 30 minutes where nobody needs anything from you. And you don't need anything from yourself. So let's talk about what doing absolutely nothing can actually look like in real life. Because, beautiful soul, I have a few ideas. So can we have a little confession time? Come on. I want you to raise your hands even though I can't see you. I know you're out there. If you've ever folded laundry while watching television, answering emails while eating dinner, listened to a podcast while cleaning the kitchen, talked on the phone while grocery shopping. Oh, and my favorite, Relaxed while simultaneously making a mental list of everything you should be doing instead. Go ahead, throw those hands up. I know I can't see them, but I just want to feel it. That's right. So I know you. Yes, I do. So welcome to the club. This membership is free. Cancellation is highly encouraged because, because isn't it funny? We'll finally sit down and say, okay, I'm going to relax. And approximately 37 seconds later, we're organizing the junk drawer. Well, since I'm sitting here, we're paying a bill. Might as well get that done. We're ordering dog food. Oh, we need that. We're making a grocery list, checking Facebook, answering a text. We're looking at our calendar, and suddenly we're researching why our refrigerator is making that weird noise. And we're still sitting in the same chair. But somehow we've turned relaxation into a full-blown administrative meeting. And then we look at ourselves and think, well, at least I was sitting down. Beautiful soul, that's not resting. That's multitasking wearing pajamas. And I think we need to redefine what rest actually looks like, because rest doesn't necessarily mean sleeping. Rest doesn't mean you have to be exhausted. And rest definitely doesn't mean that you have to disappear in a spa for 3 days while someone named Chantel puts cucumber slices on your eyes. Although, if somebody wants to send me to the spa, I'm available. Yes, I am. No, I'm talking about something much simpler. I'm talking about learning how to be in the moment without needing to make the moment productive. Being in the moment without needing to make the moment productive. That's a skill. And some of us need practice because we've been doing this productive thing for a very long time. So let's imagine something together. Imagine it's Saturday morning. You have nowhere to be. Nobody's asking you for anything. The laundry's there, the dishes are there, the house is not going to win any awards. But for the moment, none of that matters. You make coffee. And instead of immediately grabbing your phone, you sit down. That's it. You sit. You take a sip. And you actually taste it. Not gulped it down while you're scrolling. Not drink half of it while answering an email. Not microwave it 3 times because you've forgotten it exists. You actually drink your coffee. Maybe you sit outside. Maybe you put your feet up. Maybe there's a little breeze. Maybe their sun is shining. Maybe it's cloudy. Maybe it's raining. Maybe you hear the birds. Maybe you hear absolutely nothing. And just for a few minutes, you don't need to improve the moment. You don't need to capture the moment for Instagram. You don't need to turn it into a lesson. You don't need to take a picture of your coffee with a cute little caption. You don't need to ask, how can I monetize this? You just experience it. And beautiful soul, do you know how rare this has become? Actually experiencing your own life. We're constantly documenting, planning, recording, sharing, comparing, thinking about the next thing. And sometimes we're so busy trying to capture the moment, we miss the moment. So what if you didn't capture it? What if you just lived it? What if nobody else ever knew what your beautiful little Saturday morning? What if it's just yours? The coffee, the breeze, that quiet, That little moment where you look around and thought, wow, this is exactly really nice. That counts. In fact, I think it counts a lot. Excuse me. So sorry about that. So, and here's another one. Read something. Yes, read something for fun. Not because it's going to make you smarter, not because it's going to help your business, not because it's on some top 10 books every successful woman must read list. Read something because you like it. Read the mystery, read the romance, read the ridiculous beach novel. Read the book that makes you laugh. Read the book that you've already read 5 times. You don't need to extract a lesson from everything. Sometimes a book is allowed to simply entertain you. And if you're thinking, oh, but Cindy, I should be reading something educational. No, no, no. No, you shouldn't. Not right now. Put the personal development book down. Your brain is allowed to have a little dessert. And I'd say serve it up with something really sweet. Serve it up. Read something good. You know what you could also do? Watch the clouds. I know it sounds most ridiculous, doesn't it? But yes, watch the clouds. I love laying in the grass, looking up, got the sun on my face, and I just watch the clouds pass by. It is amazing. It is an amazing feeling. So watch the clouds. Because when was the last time you actually looked up? Not because you were checking the weather, not because you're wondering whether you need an umbrella. Just look and watch them move. Notice their shapes. Watch the sunlight change. And if you see a cloud that looks like a rabbit, congratulations. You have officially accomplished absolutely nothing. And isn't that wonderful? Yes. You could also sit outside and watch nature do its thing. Yep. Birds, squirrels, butterflies, trees. And if you have squirrels around your house, you know the ones that they're not resting. They're running a criminal organization. That's right. Those little things are busy, digging, chasing one another, sitting on a fence, judging everybody. And I'm pretty sure one of them is the manager. Yep. And you can sit there and watch them. And suddenly your attention starts moving away from all the things that you've been carrying and towards what's actually happening around you. That's presence. And here's where something else I want you to try. Take a walk, but don't make it a workout. Don't track your steps. Don't monitor your pace. Don't worry about how many calories you burn. Just walk. Look around. Notice the trees, the flowers. Notice someone's ridiculous lawn decorations. Oh, and you know the one down the way on the corner. Here's the thing, everyone has them, but notice them. Let your body move because it feels good, not because you're trying to earn, like trying to earn your dinner, but because you don't need to punish yourself for having cheesecake that you ate late at night. No, only you want to do this because you're alive, and that's a difference. You are alive. Enjoy it. Get out there. Do a walk. And here's one of my favorites. Sit in silence. Okay, now I could hear some of you. Silence. Cindy, I have children, or I have a dog, or I know. I get it. You have a husband. I get it. I have a dog. I get it. I get it. And I really do understand because I have all of those. But even 5 minutes counts. 5 minutes where you don't turn on the television, you don't grab your phone, you don't put on a podcast. Ooh, except for mine, just saying. Or do your little timeout first and then put on the podcast, which would be mine. They had to do a little plug. Come on. Here you go. All you need to do is you need to just sit and take a moment. See, your brain might freak out. It might say, oh, okay, what are we doing here? And you say nothing. And your brain goes, that can't possibly be right. Then it starts throwing things at you. Oh, and you know it will. Oh, we need to call Susan. We need to pay the bill. Oh, we need toilet paper. Oh, what's for dinner? Oh, I didn't send that email. And you just have to gently say, not right now. You don't have to solve everything the second it enters your mind. Let the thought come and let the thought go. You are not required to chase every thought that knocks on your mental door. No, you don't. Some thoughts can stand there and they'll be fine. Now let's talk about that television. Because I'm not anti-television. Sometimes I want to sit down, put my feet up and watch something completely ridiculous. And I don't want it to teach me anything. And I don't want a life lesson. And I don't want a personal growth. I don't want transformation. I want to laugh. I want to be entertained. I want to watch somebody else's fictional problems while mine sit quietly in the corner. That's allowed. Rest doesn't have to be spiritually profound every single time. Sometimes rest looks like, honey, bring me the remote. And that's perfectly sacred. And here's where I want to get really honest with you, because sometimes doing nothing brings something up. You sit down and you suddenly realize, wow, I'm actually sad. I'm angry. I'm lonely. Or I'm overwhelmed. Or maybe I don't even know what I want anymore. And that can be uncomfortable. Because when we're constantly being busy, we don't always have to feel those things. We can outrun them. We can keep moving, we can keep accomplishing, we can keep taking care of everybody else. But when we slow down, sometimes our emotions finally catch up. And I want you to know that's okay. You don't have to immediately fix it. You don't have to turn it into a 5-step healing plan. You don't have to Google it. Please don't Google your emotions at 2 a.m. Don't. You can simply say, oh, there you are, and breathe. Sometimes healing begins when you simply acknowledge what is there, not fixing, not judging, just noticing. And this is why I keep coming back to the word permission. Because this is really what we're talking about. It is permission. Permission to sit, permission to breathe, permission to laugh, permission to read, permission to stare out the window, permission to drink your coffee while it's actually hot. That one might be a spiritual breakthrough all by itself. Permission to have a day where you don't accomplish something measurable. Permission to have joy that doesn't produce anything. Permission to rest without being sick. Permission to stop before you're completely depleted. Permission to say, nothing is wrong. I just don't want to do anything right now. And that's the beautiful part. You don't have to justify it. You don't need a doctor's note. You don't need a permission slip from your boss. You don't need approval from your family. You don't even need approval from the little productivity police officer living in your head. You can just simply decide, today I'm going to be. Now, I want you to notice something. When you practice this, something begins to shift. At first, doing nothing may feel uncomfortable. Then it starts feeling peaceful. And eventually, you realize you're not actually doing nothing at all. You're noticing, you're breathing, you're listening, you're feeling, you're remembering, you're reconnecting. You're becoming present, and maybe you're becoming a little more acquainted with the woman underneath all the doing. The woman who doesn't need to perform, the woman who doesn't need to prove, the woman who doesn't need to be everything to everyone, the woman who can simply sit with a cup of coffee and enjoy being alive. And beautiful soul, that woman is worth knowing. So here's a little experiment, not a challenge, because Lord knows we don't need to turn rest into another assignment. An experiment. At some point this week, give yourself 30 minutes. For those 30 minutes, don't optimize them, don't improve them, don't document them, don't multitask them, and don't turn them into something useful. Just choose something that feels good and let yourself experience it. Sit outside, read, listen to music, watch the clouds, take a slow walk, drink your coffee, take a nap, stare out the window, or do absolutely nothing. And if that little voice in your head says you really should be doing something, smile, take another sip, and say, I know, honey, but we're busy doing nothing. Maybe the most radical thing you can do this week isn't adding another thing to your list. Maybe it's taking something off the list. Maybe it's giving yourself 30 minutes where you don't have to be useful. You don't have to be productive. You don't have to be needy. You don't have to perform. You just get to be you. And that, my beautiful friend, is where the real magic begins. Because once we stop measuring rest by what we accomplish, we can finally begin to notice what rest is accomplishing in us. And you know what's amazing? The moment we stop labeling, the moment we often label as doing nothing, are actually doing everything. Think about that for a second. Because somewhere along the way, we've been convinced that if something isn't producing a result, it doesn't have value. But what if that's not true? What if some of the most valuable things happen in your life can't actually be measured? What if the quiet moments, the slow moments, the moments where you are checking a box or accomplishing a task, that's not what they are? They're the moments where something inside you is actually being restored, because those moments create presence. And beautiful friend, presence is powerful, because how many times have we been physically somewhere, but mentally we're nowhere near there? We're sitting with our family, but we're thinking about tomorrow's responsibilities. We're taking a walk, but we're replaying yesterday's conversations. We're drinking our coffee, but we're already planning the next 5 things we need to do. Or our body's here and our mind is running a marathon somewhere else. And let's be honest, Our brains deserve a medal. Some of us have mentally completed an entire week's worth of tasks before breakfast. No wonder we are tired. We're over here running an Olympic event nobody signed us up for. But when we slow down, when we create space, something beautiful happens. We come back to our bodies, back to our breath, back to this moment, back to ourselves. And then something else begins to happen. Gratitude. Not the kind of gratitude where we force ourselves to say, I should be grateful. No, this is the real kind, the kind that sneaks up on you, the kind where you're sitting outside and suddenly you notice, wow, the sky is beautiful today. You may also notice, ooh, my coffee really tastes good. You may also notice the sound, that you finally love the sound of the birds. And you may be saying, I'm really grateful for this moment. Nothing changed. The world didn't suddenly become perfect. Your to-do list didn't disappear. The laundry didn't magically fold itself. Although, can we agree that would be really a beautiful miracle? But something inside of you changed. You became available to notice the beauty that was already there. And then there's creativity. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas rarely show up when you're forcing them? When you're sitting at your desk saying, okay, brain, we need brilliance, and now. Like your brain is some kind of vending machine. Insert coffee, receive $1 million idea. It doesn't work that way. Your best ideas usually arrive when you stop trying so hard. For me, mine usually show up in the shower or when I'm walking, while I'm driving, or while I'm staring out the window with a cup of coffee that officially, yeah, it's cold because I got lost in thought. And honestly, the coffee, it deserves recognition because the mug has been patiently sitting there like, take your time, girl. I'll be here when your inspiration's done. But that's the thing. Those moments aren't wasted. They're not empty. They're not meaningless. They're actually where your mind gets to connect the dots, where the ideas have room to breathe, where your imagination wakes back up, where your creativity stretches, because your brain has never designed to be on constant emergency mode. It needs space. It needs quiet. It needs moments where it isn't constantly consuming information. And then there's something even deeper, peace. Because rest isn't just about slowing down your schedule, it's about calming the war inside you. The constant pressure, the endless expectations, the voice saying, you should be doing more, you should go farther, you should be farther along, you should have figured this out by now. And for a moment, rest gives you permission to say, nope, not today. Today I am enough. Today I'm allowed to simply exist. Today I don't need to earn my worth. I don't need to prove I matter. I already do. And that, my beautiful soul, is where healing begins. Because healing doesn't always happen in big dramatic moments. Sometimes healing happens quietly in a chair on your porch, with or without your favorite mug. It's in the sunshine during a walk, while listening to the birds, while finally giving yourself permission to stop. Your nervous system finally exhales. Your shoulders drop. Your breath deepens. Your heart softens. And your soul says, oh, good. She's finally listening. because your soul has been whispering all along, not shouting, not demanding, just gently reminding you, slow down, come back, be here. You don't have to run so hard to prove you are worthy of arriving. And maybe the greatest gift is of rest isn't what you accomplish while you're resting. Maybe the greatest gift is who you become because you rested. A calmer version of you, a clearer version of you, a more connected version of you, a woman who isn't just surviving her days, but actually experiencing them. So the next time you find yourself sitting quietly with the little voice says, you should be doing something, I want you to smile and remember you are. You are restoring, you are reconnecting, you are creating space, you are honoring yourself, you are coming home. And girlfriend, that is never wasted time. That is sacred time. That is soulful time. That is the beautiful whisper of rest. And maybe, just maybe, it has been waiting for you all along. So let me ask you something. What if doing nothing is exactly doing something incredibly important? What if you sit on your porch for 30 minutes? Makes you a better mom, a better friend, a better leader, a better spouse, a better human. Because rested people respond differently, they love differently, they think differently, they lead differently. They also laugh a whole lot more, which, let's be honest, the world desperately needs that right now. We need to laugh more. So here's your Soulful Saturday nudge. Yep, I want you to schedule, yeah, I said it, schedule, actual schedule 30 guilt-free minutes this week. Not when you're folding laundry or fixing things or multitasking or scrolling. No, while I'm here, I might as well. No, we're not doing that. I want you just to be. Schedule it. Sit outside. Drink your coffee slowly. Read a book simply because it makes you smile. Watch the clouds. Listen to the birds. Let your soul breathe. And if guilt starts whispering, tell it, Saylor said to take the day off. Because beautiful soul, you don't have to earn your rest. You don't have to justify your joy. And certainly don't have to apologize for honoring the beautiful human being you were created to be. So until next time, I want you to remember your soul doesn't bloom because you're busy. It blooms because you finally gave it room to breathe. And that, my friend, is our episode on permission to do absolutely nothing. Thanks for tuning in, beautiful souls. Take this week to remember the whispers and remember your soul knows the way. And as you move through your week, carry this truth in your heart. You are worthy, you are radiant, and your presence matters. And never forget, stay soulful, stay sassy, stay you. I'll see you next Saturday, beautiful soul. Same time, same vibe, same glorious energy. Have the most glorious week.